sentence you to life in confinement without parole.
That's f***ing horse shit. You do whatever the f*** you want.
Why are they shutting my mic off?
I'm the federal witness of the United States federal government. I demand some goddamn respect, you. All I did was trespass on property.
Ma'am, you gotta create the community that you want to live in.
Bond court is a free service, but it takes several hours of my time every day. Less than 10% of Bond court viewers hit the like button, and less than 1% leave a comment. If you want Bond court to continue to be available on YouTube for free, then please hit the like button and leave a comment on all of my videos.
I'm just calling in an interpreter. Do we only have one Spanish? Yes.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Laura Boyo, State Certified Interpreter and previously sworn.
Please do a sound check for Mr. Rojas.
Yes, Your Honor. 1 second, please.
Thank you. Did you get that blank plea form? Oh, you gave it to me.
Sí.
Connection is established, Your Honor.
Seminole County Case 152992, CFA. Is your name Jose Rojas?
Sí. Correcto.
Yes.
You're here for a warrant out of Seminole County, Florida for theft. You have a bond of $2,000. I'll appoint a public defender for your time where you're in the Orange County Jail. Thank you, Mr. Rojas. If you don't post that bond, you'll be transported to Seminole County, Florida. Okay. Thank you, Madam Interpreter. That concludes everything for Spanish for the.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Jesus Manuel Torres. Mr. Torres, good morning. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case? You'll need to answer out loud.
No, ma'am.
The PD's office will stay on your case. You were arrested because you missed your court date for charges of battery to a law enforcement officer and battery domestic violence. You're to have no contact with the victim, no weapons, all previous conditions, but you'll remain at no bond. Thank you, Mr. Torres. After that, I have Kobe Giddens. (2022) CF 4811. Are you Mr. Giddens?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Giddens, do you need a public defender to help you with your criminal charges?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint a public defender. Are you Anastasia Neal?
Yes.
Please raise your right hand. I'll have you sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Anastasia Neal.
I do find that there's probable cause for the charge of aggravated battery domestic violence. You are entitled to some terms of release. Let me talk to Anastasia. Anastasia, is Mr. Giddens your boyfriend?
Yes.
Do you have any children in common?
Yes, I'm pregnant.
Okay, and do you live together?
Yes.
Are you in fear of him?
No.
Do you want him to return home?
Yes.
And were drugs or alcohol a factor in any of this?
No.
State, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
And defense, any questions?
No, Your Honor. Your Honor, just for the court's knowledge, the two prior DV battery arrests were both different victims.
Were what?
Different victims.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Giddens, I heard your girlfriend's testimony. I heard what your requests were, that you're not in fear of him, but I do have concerns, Ms. Neal, about the safety of your unborn child, as well as the outstanding warrant that he has in Seminole County. So I'm ordering no contact with you. If you live together and you're released on bond, you must maintain separate residence and live elsewhere. I'll allow a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer. You're not to have any weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 4 hours of your release from any jail. I'm going to set your bond based on these facts at $2,000. Thank you, ma'am, for your testimony. After that, I'm addressing Tash Gooden. Are you Tash Gooden? Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges? Do you support anybody?
No.
And what is your take-home pay? Not the gross number, like after taxes and withholdings. How much are you paid?
1,200.
I'm sorry, and you don't support any children or any other family members or friends? You make too much money to qualify for the services of the public defender, but I'll have him stand in as a friend of the court in case we need to be heard on bond. Does she have any history?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're to have no contact with Jason Stewart. You're to maintain a separate residence. You're to maintain a separate residence. I'll allow a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer, and you're not to own any weapons. Weapons need to be surrendered within 4 hours of your release. And I'm going to set her bond at $1,500. Can you afford a bond of $1,500?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. That'll conclude your case. Next case up is Thomas Jordan. Are you Mr. Jordan?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jordan, do you need a public defender to help you with your new charges for aggravated battery and battery?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint the services of the public defender. I do find that there's probable cause. Based on the facts of this case, you are entitled to bond, but here are the conditions that I'll go over with you. You're to have no contact with Dawn Allen. You must maintain a separate residence. She can stay. You're only permitted to go back one time, and you must be accompanied by a police officer. Additionally, you're not allowed to have any weapons. All weapons need to be surrendered within 4 hours of your release from jail. State, I don't see anything's been filed on the out on bond, but he just bonded out about a month and a half ago on the drug charges. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. The arrest was early March. We have not yet filed on it. However, given the allegations within the affidavit, and that there were arguably two, and the violent behavior he's exhibiting in this case, state would ask that you revoke.
What says defense?
Your Honor, I would ask that given that the state has not filed, it has been over a month, and the state has not filed on those charges, I ask that you take no action. And if you are inclined to revoke for the new law, that you revoke and set a new bond, given that the state has not filed formal charges.
Okay, I'll go to monetary bonds. On the aggravated battery domestic, I'm setting bond at $2,000. On the battery domestic, $100, conditions previously imposed. On the drug charges at this time, I'm revoking his release. I'm setting count 1 bond at $5,000, count 2 bond at $200, count 3 bond at $200. So in that case, his new bond total is $5,400. Thank you. I'm also going to order possess no drugs or paraphernalia out on bond, and I wrote it on there. The next person is Shakira Self, 2022 CF 4792.
Your Honor, in this case, I believe both were arrested. Can we see both together? Your Honor?
Yes. Kendrick Bacon is the co-defendant. So I have to wait for Mr. Bacon. Let's pass on Ms. Self and hold her until Bacon is brought up.
I believe she's bringing him up now.
Excuse me?
I believe they're grabbing him right now.
Oh, okay, thank you. She's Self and, how far down is Bacon?
Under Kendrick.
Oh, it's Kendrick is the last name.
Your Honor,
Yes,
may we approach?
yes, give me one moment to find the paper. Can I slide this over? Yes, approach. State Defense, you can approach. Yes, counsel. I know. Sure. Okay. Right. We'll wait on him. I'll call him up later. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do this a little bit differently. In case number 2022 CF 4792, are you Ms. Self?
Yeah.
I'll appoint a public defender to help you with these charges if you'd like. Do you want a public defender? You'll need to answer out loud.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm going to find probable cause for the charge of aggravated assault. At this time, I'm going to give you a monetary bond of $1,000. You're to have no contact with with Bacon. You must maintain a separate residence. Whose lease is it? Okay, so I'm going to allow you to stay there. He cannot go back. I'm going to give him a one-time exception. But while this case is going on, you're not to possess any weapons. If you do, they need to be surrendered to law enforcement within 4 hours of your release. I'm ordering no contact with no defendant with Kendrick Bacon, and comply with the Department of Children and Families if they're investigating.
We have kids, so I just have to reply with them. Okay.
Yeah, you have to go through DCF. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kendrick Bacon is next. No, we can pass on him for a little bit. Shuri. Okay, thank you. Caramos Burton. Good morning, sir. Let's get some paperwork ready. Mr. Burton, you're here for a misdemeanor offense, case number 2022 MM2826. Do you need a public defender? Do you plan to represent yourself or hire your own attorney?
Yes, I need a public defender.
I'll appoint the services of the public defender. I do find probable cause. I'm going to put him on straight monetary bond. You're to have no contact with victim Shanice Carr. You must maintain a separate residence. She can stay. You can only go back one time when you're accompanied by a police officer to collect belongings. You're not to have any weapons. Weapons need to be surrendered to law enforcement within 4 hours of your release. Based on your history and the facts of this case, your bond is $1,500. Thank you, Mr. Burton.
Your Honor, he's currently on Social Security income. I would ask for pretrial release, given that he does qualify.
I see that, but I'm going to deny that request based on his history, which is,
And you said 1,500, Your Honor?
yes. The next person is Devon Culbreth, case number 2022 MM231AW.
Behavior, Your Honor.
All right, I'll appoint the services of the public defender in this case. Is Victoria Culbreth present? For the record, no response. At this time, I'm going to find probable cause. I'm setting bond at $1,000. I'm ordering defendant is to maintain a separate residence, no contact with the victim, and one-time return with law enforcement, and not to possess any weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 4 hours of release. After that, I have Dejuan Davis. Mr. Davis, do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
You were arrested for a charge of battery, domestic violence, and I do find probable cause. You are entitled to bond. Is Miss Floyd present? No response. Sir, based on your history, I'm setting your bond at $1,500. You're to have no contact with the victim. You must maintain a separate residence. I'll allow for a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer, and you're not to own any weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 4 hours of your release. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Rihanna George is next. Good morning, Ms. George. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case? No. Okay. Is Decarius Scott present? For the record, no response. You and the victim do not live together, is that correct? Right. All right. State any objection to pretrial release?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. George, I'm going to put you on pretrial release. Here are your conditions. You're to have no contact with victim Scott. You're not allowed to have any weapons. If you do own any weapons, they have to be surrendered to the police department within 4 hours of your release. I see that there is a witness. I'm also ordering no contact with the witness, last name McCrimmon. Do you have any questions? All right, that concludes your case. Thank you, Ms. George. Will be processed out. After that, I have Kayla Moore. PTR. I'm sorry. Okay. Are you Bacon, Kendrick Bacon or Bacon Kendrick?
Kendrick Bacon.
Okay. So your last name. Sir, you were arrested for a charge of battery, domestic violence, and I do find that there's probable cause. I'm going to temporarily appoint the public defender's office. I'll likely need to conflict out. On the charge of battery, I'll give you a bond. Based on the facts of this case, I'm setting your bond at $1,500. You're to have no contact with the victim, and you must maintain a separate residence. She can stay at the Orange Blossom Trail address. You're only permitted to go back one time with a police officer to collect your belongings. You're not allowed to have any weapons. If you do own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to law enforcement within 4 hours of your release from jail, but based on your history, I'm not sure if you're allowed to have them anyway. Give me a moment to find something. Is his probation case number 2016 CF? Geez, too many cases. Corrections, do you have a case number where he is on probation?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe it's 2016 CF 12206.
Is he also on in 2016 CF 1172?
Yes.
Sir, in case number 2016 CF 12206 and 11172, I'm seeing that you're on probation. Because of this new law violation, I'm going to hold you at no bond and treat it as an on view. You'll have counsel through the public defender's office temporarily. Thank you. Kayla Moore is next.
So I have to get a paid lawyer.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because they live separately anyway. Okay, Kayla Moore, sorry for the wait. You're here for a crime of battery domestic violence. Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
No.
You'll need to answer loud enough so I can hear you. Okay. And sir, what's your name?
Isaac Moore.
Mr. Moore, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give today is the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? You'll need to answer loud enough so I can hear you.
Yes.
And how do you know Kayla Moore?
She's my wife.
Are you in fear of her?
No.
Do you feel safe? Do you want her to live with you?
Yes.
And is anybody else living in the house?
My child.
Okay, do you have any concerns about your safety or your child's safety at the hands of Ms. Moore?
No.
Were drugs or alcohol a factor in this?
No.
All right. Ma'am, I'm going to put you on pretrial release with the following conditions. You're to have no hostile contact with your husband or any family members, and you're not allowed to have any weapons. If you do have any weapons, they need to be surrendered to the police department within 4 hours of your release. She didn't want to be. All right. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you,
Your
Ms.
Honor, I believe DTF was also contacted.
And I'm also going to order that if the Department of Children and Families is doing an investigation, you are court-ordered to cooperate with them, okay? Counsel, we'll work your case in as soon as he's brought up.
Understood, Judge.
Justin, what? Justin, Dugate? Sorry, I mispronounced that. Do you need a public defender to help you with your criminal charges?
Yes, please.
All right, I'll appoint the services of the public defender. I find probable cause for these offenses. 55. All right. I know he qualifies for pretrial release. I'm going to do it a little bit with a plus monetary bond. On each count, I'm setting your bond at $100 plus pretrial release. Here are the conditions of pretrial release. You're to have no contact with Cynthia or Michael. You need to maintain a separate residence. You can go back there one time to collect your belongings. After that, you can't go back. You're not allowed to have any weapons. If you do own any weapons, they must be surrendered to law enforcement within 4 hours of your release. And you're not to possess any illegal drugs, any drug paraphernalia, or consume any alcohol. Through pretrial release services, you're going to be subject to random testing at your expense. Any testing can begin anytime after May 30th, so if you have something in your system, you have time to clear effective today. Thank you.
Your Honor, is Michael a witness in the?
Michael is a victim.
A victim?
Ocana is next. Case number 2022 MM 2829. Is Haley Dujon present, or Shay? No response. Your name, please? You're here for a crime of battery domestic violence. Would you like a lawyer to help you with your charges? All right, you're here for, I find probable cause for these offenses. I'm going to set your bond at $500. You're to have no contact with any victims or witnesses. In this case, you must maintain a separate residence. They can stay where they're living. You cannot go back. I'll make a one-time exception. How old is Haley?
They're 20, but I pay all the bills.
Okay. I understand that, but they're allowed to stay there. You cannot. They're not here to tell me something otherwise. You go back to the house just one time. You need to be accompanied by a police officer to collect your belongings. Don't go back without an officer. No contact with them. And you're not allowed to have any weapons. Weapons need to be surrendered within 4 hours of your release from jail. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any weapons.
All right. Good luck to you, ma'am. After that is Powell. Did I screw something up?
No, those are the only.
Ms. Powell, you were arrested for a charge of battery domestic violence, and I do find that there's probable cause. Is Javante Davis present? No response. Based on your history, your bond is going to be $750. You're to have no contact with Javante Davis. It looks, do you live separately?
Yes.
Okay, so no contact with him. That means you can't go to where he lives. You're also not allowed to have any weapons. If you do own any weapons, they need to be surrendered to the police department within 4 hours of your release. It's my understanding that there's a witness. You're to have no contact with the witness either. Good luck to you, ma'am. After that is Matthew Richetti. Sherry Sherigar.
No, we pulled it to him because the attorney pulled it to him.
Okay. Yeah, except the one with Judge, not Judge Rojas.
No, I'm not like, is there anybody that can do it? Oh, no.
Okay, and then Katrina Saba, we're still waiting on.
Yeah, that one's.
All right, let's go ahead and call Richetti. Matthew Richetti. Thank you, officer.
Okay.
Matthew Richetti is next. Mr. Richetti, you're here for a crime of battery domestic violence. I will give you release conditions. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Possibly.
Is that a yes or a no? Because I'm going to start your hearing now. Do you
Yes.
want a public defender who's standing behind you in the courtroom? Or do you want to proceed without an attorney? Or if you want to hire your own attorney, I can reset your case till tomorrow. How old are you?
27.
Have you ever been in trouble with the law before? Do you have any legal training?
Not exact. No.
Do you understand what the maximum penalties are involving a misdemeanor of the first degree?
No.
Do you think it would be in your best interest to have an attorney present with you this morning?
I guess so.
Okay, is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'll appoint a public defender. Are you David Richetti, or
Yes.
please raise your right hand. I'll have you sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
And how are you related to Matthew?
He's my brother.
Do you live together?
Yes.
Do you feel safe living with him?
No.
All right, do you want contact with him?
No. Your Honor, may I add something?
Let me ask you a couple of questions. Is drug or alcohol a factor in any of this
No.
behavior?
No.
Yes, what would you like to ask me?
Yesterday was all day was spent trying to get Matthew to voluntarily get help for his mental condition. He refused. Me and my family are currently trying to get him evaluated at Lakeside and long-term help at Dunklin. He's severely depressed, and it is just messing everybody up.
Okay.
Your Honor, that's present within the affidavit. I don't know if you'd be willing to do mental health PTR and then in the alternative,
Monetary.
monetary.
Here's what I'm doing. I'm gonna give you an option for mental health PTR. Your attorney will explain that to you, and that kind of gives me information about why he was unable to articulate whether or not he needed an attorney. In the alternative, I'll set monetary bond at $500. Mr. Richetti, here are the terms of your release. You're to have no contact with your family while this case is pending, and you're not to possess any weapons. If you do own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to the police department within 4 hours of your release. I'll let you return to your home one time, but you must be accompanied by a police officer. That's for the sole purpose of you collecting some personal effects. If you take prescribed medications for your mental health, I'm ordering that you take prescribed medications, but you not take any illegal drugs. Do you have any questions, Mr. Richetti?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Richetti, that's, he is entitled to some release conditions, so I've just ordered them. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. After that is Linda Rodriguez. Witnesses, because they were all there. So that's no contact with the witnesses, so those are your other family members. Linda Rodriguez, give me a moment. Is David Rodriguez present? Ms. Rodriguez, you're here for a crime of battery domestic violence. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
I'll appoint a public defender for these purposes. State, do you have any objection to PTR?
No, Your Honor.
I'll put you on pretrial release for these charges. You're to have no contact with David. You must maintain a separate residence, which is what I'm showing. And you're not allowed to have any weapons. If you do own any weapons, they need to be surrendered to the police department within 4 hours of your release. There are a number of witnesses in this case who seem to be written down as family members. You're to have no contact with those witnesses either. Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Deshaun Rutherford is next. I'm going to do a one-time return with law enforcement.
Did I pull it out?
Are you Mr. Rutherford? Mr. Rutherford, do you need a public defender to help you with your criminal charges?
Yes.
I'll appoint the services of the public defender to help you with your case. Sir, what's your name?
Percy Hardy.
Mr. Hardy, please raise your right hand. I'll have you sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what is your relationship to Mr. Rutherford?
His ex-step-grandfather.
You're his what?
I was married to his grandmother.
Okay. And then who is Marquetta?
His aunt. Her name was Quita.
Okay, I'm sorry I mispronounced that. Do you and Mr. Rutherford live together?
Sorta and sorta not. Bless you.
Are you, thank you. Are you in fear of him?
No, ma'am. No. See, I called yesterday, right? I was crying, begging him not to book that boy. The boy's in here. He said he would be in here. What happened was, it happened because of something that I'm bringing to the house. And his grandmother told him to do what he was doing.
Okay, let me slow you down. Do you want to have contact with him?
Yeah, I ain't scared of that boy.
Okay.
He said he would be in here, man. I dialed 911, then I hung up. But then his auntie started talking that foolishness.
Where does Deshaun, excuse me, but, okay, I got this. State any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have any questions for Mr. Hardy?
No, Your Honor.
All right, here are the terms of your release. I'm going to put you on straight pretrial release. You're to have no hostile contact with Mr. Hardy. You can't do anything to harm, threaten, scare, or intimidate him. Additionally, you're not allowed to own any weapons. Weapons need to be surrendered to the police department within 4 hours of your release. Do you have any questions, sir?
No.
Mr. Hardy, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. I just
All right.
want him to come home, ma'am.
Good luck to you.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
luck to you, sir.
All
He's
right.
being released today.
Yes, ma'am.
Saba's next.
I don't have it on me.
Oh, what?
Your Honor, I'm sorry. How many hours did you give him?
4.
4 hours, so upon your release, you got 4 hours.
Catherine Saba's mental health. Okay, I'm gonna call it. Sir, if you can, hold on. Ms. Abraham, I just want them to clear everything. 2022 MM 2827. She's not being brought over today because of mental health conditions. Are you waiving her appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
And your appearance for the record?
Gonna Abraham on behalf of Ms. Saba.
Okay, I find probable cause for the charge of battery domestic violence. Sir, please raise your right hand. I'll have you sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and what is your name, sir?
Michael Weinstein.
Mr. Weinstein, how were you related to Ms. Saba?
We were married.
You're married? And were you living together at the time of this offense?
Yes, ma'am.
Your witness state.
Good morning, sir. Has anything like this ever happened before?
Not to this extreme, no.
Has anything violent ever occurred between you two before?
No, ma'am.
Are you afraid of Miss Saba?
I am not afraid. I care for her deeply, and all I want is for her to get mental health.
And are you willing to call 911 if anything like this ever happened again?
Absolutely.
And do you believe drugs or alcohol were involved in this incident?
I believe, but alcohol was, but not to an extent of that would lead it to the extreme it was in. Not in excess, is what I'm saying.
And you stated you do want to have contact with her?
I would like to not have contact with her until she's assessed and gone through and followed through with a treatment plan from a professional. I would very much like her to be released from prison and put into a professional environment that can treat her rather than being in a prison environment.
Can I interrupt? Where would her husband,
We can send her to
where is she gonna go?
to like an Advent Health mental health facility or
Have you
any
looked into those
facility.
before? Hold on, let me slow you down. Have you looked into those before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do they have a bed available? I think that's the big question.
Yes, ma'am. We can find one that will have a bed.
Do you know if they have a bed available? If I release her today, where is she going to go is my question. I can't release her to Advent Health if they don't have a bed available and they don't have a liaison here to tell me that or something in writing.
So I have not been doing that. Her mother has, and she has multiple facilities that she's called, that are available, either advent, which would be insurance, or paid.
I understand. Yes, counsel.
Your Honor, I have spoken to Mr. Weinstein and discussed Ms. Saba's mental health issues and struggles. She will be residing with her aunt, and that is Maria Goretti, and I can provide that address to the court. She is insured, and she currently does telehealth to get her mental health treatment. I do have a list of resources available for Mr. Weinstein.
As long as I know where she's going.
Yes, we had agreed that if she can be court ordered to have a assessment within 24 hours, Mr. Weinstein is fine with her being released. He would prefer to have her be released. He doesn't feel that the treatment here.
I'm not gonna do 24 hours. I feel like we're gonna set her up for failure because we're on a Friday. By the time she gets discharged or processed out, it's gonna be probably near the close of business, or at least early afternoon. So you let me know if you have any questions.
The facilities that we reached out to are 24 hours, so they will be able to facilitate. I don't want to set up for failure. If you want to give it 48 hours, we'll be with her. And perfect.
Any objection to pretrial release?
No, Your Honor, not due to the victim's testimony.
Do you want pretrial release or straight monetary?
PTR, please.
I'm gonna place her on pretrial release. I'm ordering no contact while this case is pending. This can be changed later on. She's to be evaluated no later than Tuesday. What's that date?
That would be the 2nd, I believe. Or 3rd.
It's the 5th.
Tuesday?
Oh, wait, that's April.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Tuesday is the 3rd.
Tuesday, May 3rd. Defendant is to maintain a separate residence. She's going to be residing with her aunt, Maria, and you're to give the court something in writing with her
Yes, Your
address and
Honor, it's
contact.
Ms. Goretti. And if we can make it no direct contact, there are 2 children involved, one of them being 6 months and only breastfed.
Oh, okay.
And they have already arranged for a.
I'll allow third-party contact for purposes of the children only. Is that agreeable?
Yes.
Is that agreeable to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and she's not to have any weapons. If she owns any weapons, they need to be surrendered within 4 hours of her release or notify police where to collect those weapons since she's not to return home. And do not consume any illegal drugs or alcohol.
Your Honor, DCF was also contacted.
Comply with Department of Children and Families. So I heard your testimony. I've tried to be very thorough with meeting your request and what is legally allowed. Anything else, sir?
No, I very much appreciate your time.
All right, anything else, state or defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you very
Should
much.
be processed out today.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and go to Sanchez. Can you approach with the plea form?
Yes, Your Honor. And Your Honor, I do believe the probation officer is on the, is online.
They're not.
I'm sorry?
They're not online.
Oh, she
Let me
said
see
she's
if I
been
can pull them
listening.
online on my,
Welcome to an Econo meeting. You are entering the meeting now. You are the only participant.
I don't have probation on.
She said that she just got disconnected. She's logging back on.
Yeah, this has been up for a little while, so I didn't see her in the room before. If she wants to message you and give you her input or. All right, while the state figures that out, let's bring in the next person. If you, I could just have you stand down. We'll work Mr. Sanchez in as soon as they have an opportunity to get in touch with probation. Yeah, I have my personal room on my computer plus the BRC, and she's not on either. I don't.
I know she said she was listening earlier. And then she said she just got disconnected and she's trying to log back in.
All right. What's your name, please? What's your name?
Darian Truss.
Mr. Truss, you're here for a charge of battery domestic violence. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case? A lawyer? Do you need a lawyer to help you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Jaina Graham. All right, here's what I'm doing, Mr. Truss. I'm going to, how long have you lived in Orlando?
All of my life.
Okay. And do you have a job?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to release you on pretrial release services. Any objection to that state? He's pro se.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. You're to have no contact with the victim, Jaina Graham. You need to move out. I'll allow a one-time return to collect some personal belongings, not a full move out, but you must be accompanied by a police officer. You're to have no contact with Jaina, and you're not to have any weapons. Weapons need to be surrendered within 4 hours of your release. Thank you, Mr. Truss.
He has no history. I don't know why.
I put him on PTR. He didn't ask for a public defender. He said no.
I don't think he, yeah, I know. He's never been in trouble before, Your Honor. He doesn't plan on hiring a private. Could we be provisionally appointed just for today's purpose? I mean, just for.
I gave him a pretrial release.
You sure you're okay?
That's
Oh.
fine. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Make sure you stay on your court dates, okay?
Your Honor, probation says she's back on.
Okay, probation, can you hear me? I don't know what the technical issue is. If she could hear us.
She
I
said
don't-
she can't.
But I can't hear her. That's problematic. Can you turn the volume? Can you just ask her what her input is?
I have the document that she provided, going over basically her case, the case and the dates on probation and the new laws, the technicals.
Okay, I have that too, the recommendations. All right, let's bring Mr. Sanchez back in, and in the meantime, counsel, can you approach with the plea form, or the admission form, rather?
I approached it already, Judge.
Oh, yeah, sorry. All right, sir, please raise your right hand. I'll have you sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Your name, please.
Frank Sanchez, Your Honor.
Mr. Sanchez, you're here for a violation of probation. The underlying offense was driving under the influence. Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it's my understanding I'm going to do a time-served sentence. Are you sure it was a revoke and terminate that I said? No.
Yes, Judge.
As an officer of the court, I'll accept it. I do want you to keep in mind that your lawyer has done a good job advocating for you. Probation was seeking 120 days. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, do you mind if I put a few things on record before
Yes,
you
go ahead.
sentence? Mr. Sanchez Valdez was placed on probation for 245 days. He's gotten 40 days of credit. Probation is asking for a new term of probation of 90 days. The defendant's also in violation of his felony probation. Probation believes that he potentially had 2 previous DUIs under another alias in Pennsylvania in 2002 and in New York in 2013, making this at least 4 DUIs. The recommendation was 90 additional days and the $50 cost of supervision. And that's what the state and probation's asking for at this time, Your Honor.
I may have been mistaken, but this is the first time I've heard of anything outside of the Florida DUI in 2019. I can't sentence him, and and punish him, so to speak, based on a speculation and what they believe opposed to what they know. Have they ever had a JNS comparison with fingerprints, State?
I think the NCIC was pulled. However, they didn't have a dispo for the case of the 2002 Pennsylvania one. I just received this. It's not my case, Your Honor, so I just received it.
I can't sentence him based on something speculative. It's now been around for a while, where State had time to perfect that and treat it as an enhanceable offense. Alternatively, probation had time to look into it. All right, let me go ahead and pull up my documents. Sir, do you know the differences between an admission and a denial?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you will be subject to deportation by entering a plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that, did you read this paper and understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what's the highest grade that you finished in school?
12th grade.
If you have a criminal history of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated under the laws of this state, do you understand that you could be civilly committed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, do you admit or deny committing the offense of possession of a controlled substance, specifically cocaine, on January 22nd? Admit or deny?
May I have a moment, Judge? He's a little confused that the case was no billed by the state, but I'll explain to him what exactly. Yes, Your Honor.
Do you admit or deny? So you're admitting to it. All right. Violation of condition 4, do you admit or deny committing an offense of driving with license suspended on or about January 22nd? Admit or deny? Do you admit or deny that you failed to pay your cost of supervision in the months of February? Do you admit or deny? And do you admit or deny that you failed to complete your substance abuse program as court ordered? I'll find that you admitted to the new law violations as well as all technical violations. I think we need to recalculate his time.
I have 45 days to include the Osceola time, because this the Osceola was affidavit was in there.
I understand that you were released on this case earlier, but you're sitting in jail on other charges. At this time, I'll go ahead and adjudicate you guilty, which has been previously done, sentence you to 45 days in the county jail with 45 days credit for time served, revoking and terminating your terms of probation. Your outstanding court cost and supervision is all going to be done with the clerk of court's office. You have 30 days to set up a modified payment plan once you're released from jail or prison. And your license will remain suspended until you complete all outstanding conditions. Once you do get a license, you are going to have to comply with the ignition interlock device. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
You'll be released on these charges today. Thank you.
Thank you.
The one, previous order, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so all previous conditions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, counsel.
Thank you, Judge.
And State, thank you for mentioning that. That's the first time I've heard about the Pennsylvania. I know you're just kind of stepping in, so.
First time I've heard about it as well, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Your name, please.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Zeneida Tuck.
Ms. Tuck, you're here for a charge of battery. Are you Maria Tuck?
Yes, I am.
You are the only participant.
Never got her. Zeneida, do you need a public defender that's a lawyer to help you with your case?
If I could defend myself, I think that would be fine.
If you change your mind and you not need a lawyer, you let me know.
Perfect, thank you.
How are you related to Zeneida?
She's my daughter.
And does she have any mental health issues?
We believe so. She needs to be evaluated. She's been to UBC numerous times, and they
Has she
haven't
ever been
fully
found
done.
competent or incompetent, rather?
I'm sorry?
Has she ever been found or believed to be incompetent?
They diagnosed her differently each time she went, and the last time she went to South Seminole, I believe it was, they said she was borderline personality disorder and that she needed therapy. She's refusing to do therapy or anything.
Now, does she live with you usually?
Yes, she does.
Do you want her to return home?
Yes.
Are you in fear of her?
Say that one more time.
Are you in fear of her?
Not at all.
And do you have concerns about the safety of any of your other household members?
Not at all.
Were drugs or alcohol a factor in this?
We do not believe so. We've been dealing with this for the last couple of years, trying to get her help.
Ms. Tuck?
Yes, ma'am.
Zeneida, can I call you Zeneida?
Yes.
So you were arrested for battery, domestic violence. Based on what your mom said, do you want to return home and be released from jail?
Yes, please.
Okay. But based on what your mom says, I have a concern about your ability to understand what's going on. So I'm going to appoint a public defender to assist you throughout this case.
Okay.
If at any point you're unhappy with the public defender, you can tell the judge that you want the public defender removed from the case. That would also happen if you or somebody in your family hired your own attorney. I'm going to release you on pretrial release. You're to have no hostile contact with your mom. You can't do anything to harm, threaten, scare, or intimidate her. Do you follow?
Your Honor, would you repeat that, please? As far as you said, no hospital?
Oh, no hostile contact.
Perfect. Thank you.
I want you to get evaluated within the next 2 weeks
Okay.
for mental health treatment.
Perfect.
If you can't get that done in that time, just follow up and we can sign off in an order extending that.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're not to take any drugs or alcohol unless it's a prescribed medication. And I mean currently prescribed, not something old.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And you're not allowed to have any weapons. If you do have any weapons, they need to be surrendered to law enforcement within 2 hours of your release.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
That's all.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Get the evaluation in 2 weeks, just
Follow up, yeah.
follow up with the date.
Or seek an extension. Anastasia Cross? You're here for a warrant out of Volusia County for the underlying offense of battery, domestic violence, and there's an allegation that you violated your probation. You're being held at no bond. I'll appoint a public defender to assist you while you're in the Orange County Court Jail. After that, I'm going to address Robert Lewis. What? Oh, yeah, come on up. How do you like private practice? Wait till they do that on a holiday. All right, are you Mr. Lewis?
Yes, ma'am.
2018-13 CFA. You're here for a warrant. You're being held on no bond. This is a warrant out of Seminole County, Florida, for a violation of probation for grand theft charges. I'll appoint a public defender for the purposes of being incarcerated in the Orange County Jail. After that is Tiffany Waters. Ms. Waters, I'll appoint a public defender to help you while you're in the Orange County Jail in case 2018 CF 5813. You have a warrant out of Brevard County, Florida. You're being held at no bond for trafficking in stolen property and false information to a pawnbroker. Good luck to you, ma'am. After that, I have Bo McKinley. Bo McKinley. Bo McKinley. B-E-A-U, McKinley. All right, thank you. Crystal Middleton. Thank you. Tyler Casillas. I'll appoint a public defender to help you while you're incarcerated in the Orange County Jail. You're here for a warrant for battery. You were placed on probation. It alleges that You committed a new offense of being trespass. You didn't complete your anger management, and you didn't undergo your substance evaluation, so your bond is $100. Again, a public defender is appointed.
It's
No, it's
1,000.
1,000.
1,000? Did I say 100? I'm sorry, $1,000. That's how much. Todd Hubbard is next. Are you Mr. Hubbard?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hubbard, do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint the service of a public defender. You're here for charges of burglary of a dwelling and grand theft. You were on probation or community control. It's alleged you violated your term, so you're now being held at no bond. After that, it's Jaina Stanton. I'll appoint the services of the public defender. The warrant has been signed and she'll be remaining at no bond. After that is Freddie Thomas, 2020. Okay. Can we switch gears?
I don't have it either.
All right, Sheree Sherriger.
I don't have that.
I can't hear who you're calling.
We don't have those two cases. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't have that. You have it?
I don't have that paperwork.
I don't have it either.
He's second session.
Well, I don't have the paperwork. We'll need to see her. We're gonna do a move up, so it'll, what's your name? What's your name?
Bradley Thomas.
Mr. Thomas, good morning. You're here for a violation of probation in case number 2021 CF 14217. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and appoint when you're being held at no bond for that violation of probation. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And Trong is next. Okay. We'll pass on Trong. Are you ready on Sherrigar? Is this your client?
Morning, Judge. My name is Adam Pollock. I'll be making an oral notice of appearance and following it up with a written notice of appearance. I just contacted about an hour ago.
Thank you. On record on 2022 CF 4820. Sir, you were arrested for, your name, please.
Shrey Sharigar.
You were arrested for a charge of aggravated assault with a firearm. I do find that there's probable cause. Is Lomaim Aligar Guzman present? No response. State, do you want to be heard on release conditions?
Your Honor, it doesn't appear that he qualifies for PTR, so state's just asking for a bond. Taking into account there was a child present and DCF was called.
And defense counsel, do you want to be heard on terms of release?
Yes, Judge, I'd ask the court to consider releasing him on his own recognizance with a condition not to possess any firearms while on.
You're asking for ROR on it?
Yes, ma'am. The reason being is he's a long-term resident of this area. He has no prior record to my knowledge. He is fully employed. He is a responsible citizen of Florida. My understanding of the alleged facts in this case is that the alleged victim is not wishing to see this case prosecuted. There's really a low chance of him violating any conditions and fleeing the jurisdiction. I believe he owns his own local business as well here.
State, what kind of monetary bond do you want? Since I can't put him on ROR with these offenses.
Yes, Your
Or
Honor, state was
allegations.
going to object to ROR, given that there was a victim, and there was firearm and a child. Since it's an F3, state's asking for 1,500. However, given that he has no history, state understands if court reduces that.
Here are the conditions of your release. I'm setting bond at $1,500. I'm ordering no contact with the victim. You cannot contact the victim even for purposes of your children. You must maintain a separate residence. I'll allow a one-time return. You need to be accompanied by a police officer at that time.
That's fine. I don't want. That's fine.
Let me finish, and then you can ask your attorney if you have any questions, and then we'll circle back around. So no contact, maintain separate residence. One-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer. That's just enough time to collect a bag like for your personal effects and toiletries and changes of clothes. You're not to own any weapons. That includes firearms and ammunition. If you do own any, they need to be surrendered within 4 hours of your release from jail. You're going to sign a paper that goes over the terms of no contact. Again, no third-party contact, no texting, emailing, private messaging, or any other means. Anything else, state?
Your Honor, just to comply with DCF as they were called.
So the Department of Children and Families is likely going to be involved in this case and take additional information. You're to comply with their investigation. Of course, call your attorney if you have any other questions. Mr. Pollock, I'll give you a moment to confer with your client. Let me know if I need to clarify anything.
Judge, we do not need any clarification.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
That concludes your case. Thank you, counsel.
Thank you, Judge.
After, while I wait for Vietnamese, can I see session two? Okay, we're gonna be on standby until we have a Vietnamese interpreter online. I can review it this way. No. Thank you, I appreciate you asking. Okay, and I believe the victim needs a Vietnamese interpreter too, is that correct? Do I have an interpreter online?
I'm here.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. What is your name?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Hung, ID number 202183.
Please interpret. Are you Miss Trong?
Yes.
Cô có phải là Trương không vậy cô?
Dạ phải.
Yes.
Miss Trong.
Your Honor, there is a witness approaching.
Call your witness. Sir, please tell me what your name is. Wait, hold on.
Dạ thưa chú cho tôi biết tên của chú là gì?
Anh Nguyễn.
This is anh Nguyễn.
And how are you related to Miss Trong?
Và chú là quan hệ gì với lại cô Trương?
Bạn gái.
She's my girlfriend.
Do you live together?
Cô và chú có sống chung với nhau không?
Dạ đang sống chung.
Yes, we live together.
Do you want to continue to live together?
Hai người có muốn tiếp tục sống chung với nhau không?
Dạ. Muốn.
Yes, I do.
Are you in fear of her?
Chú có sợ hãi gì bà cô ta không?
Không.
No.
I'm going to talk to Miss Trong now.
Bây giờ tôi sẽ nói chuyện với lại cô Trương.
Miss Trong, do you speak or understand any English?
Cô Trương, cô có nói được tiếng Anh hoặc là hiểu được tiếng Anh không vậy cô?
Dạ, chỉ hiểu được chút chút.
I can understand a little bit.
Because of your lack of understanding, I'm going to have a lawyer from the Public Defender's Office help you.
Bởi vì sự gọi là thiếu sót về không hiểu tiếng Anh, do đó tôi sẽ đề cử một người luật sư đại diện cho cô do bên khu vực được bảo vệ đặt ra cho cô nhé.
She's circling her phone number. Call her office no later than Wednesday of next week.
Cô nhớ là sẽ liên lạc với văn phòng luật sư không có quá trễ ngày thứ Tư của tuần tới.
Dạ.
Yes.
I'm ordering that you have no hostile contact with Mr. Nguyen.
Tôi đưa ra một cái sắc lệnh là cô không có được có một cái hoặc là một cái hành động gọi là hung dữ với chú Nguyễn.
He's saying it's okay for you to return home.
Và ông ta có cho biết là hiện nay cô có thể trở về.
You're not allowed to have any weapons, like firearms and ammunition.
Cô không có được quyền cất giữ hoặc là mua những cái vũ khí, súng ống.
If you do have them, you need to call the police and ask them to pick them up.
Nếu như hiện nay cô có vũ khí cất giữ ở nhà hoặc là cất giữ ở đâu, cô nên gọi đến đồn cảnh sát, nhờ cảnh sát đến mang đi.
Sir, where is the 13-year-old daughter now?
Dạ thưa chú, hiện nay đứa bé 13 tuổi đang ở đâu?
Ngày hôm qua thì có gọi cho người con gái đầu á của bạn gái á, là Đài Trương á, là cho nên bây giờ người con gái thứ hai là ở Orlando pick up từ from school tomorrow, ngày hôm qua.
Okay, so Miss Jung, eldest daughter, I think eldest or the second daughter, who lives in Orlando, arranged to pick up the 13 years old yesterday at school.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Cảm ơn ạ.
State Defense Counsel, can you approach? Madam Interpreter, I'm going to put you on a brief hold.
Thank you.
So she does qualify for pretrial release. I can also give her a low monetary bond. What I'm seeing, it's kind of a blanket observation I'm making. When we have interpreter cases, most often, because there's nothing in writing that explains in Vietnamese what the pretrial release conditions are. And even though we have Spanish, they're not understanding it. So what do you want me to do on this? Is $100 okay? All right, ma'am, you have to post a bond amount of $100.
Dạ thưa cô, cái số tiền bảo lãnh của cô sẽ được gọi là đăng là 100 đồng.
I've never seen it before. Do you want and that'll conclude your case, but call your attorney.
Hôm nay tôi sẽ hoàn tất ngưng lại cái buổi hầu trác ngày hôm nay. Cô nhớ liên lạc với luật sư của cô.
Mr. Nguyen, do you have any questions? She'll be released.
Chú Nguyễn, chú có thắc mắc gì muốn hỏi tôi không?
She'll be released after someone posts the $100 bond.
Cô ta sẽ được trả tự do sau khi có người đăng cái cổ phiếu, trả cái tiền trả tự do cho cô ấy.
Dạ, cảm ơn.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That'll conclude everything.
Cảm ơn ạ. Tất cả đã được hoàn tất ạ. Thank you, Your Honor. Would there be anything else?
All right, thanks.
Bond court is a free service, but it takes several hours of my time every day. Less than 10% of Bond court viewers hit the like button, and less than 1% leave a comment. If you want Bond court to continue to be available on YouTube for free, then please hit the like button and leave a comment on all of my videos.
John Lindsley. Good morning, Mr. Lindsley. You're here in case 22 CF4348. I'll appoint a public defender to help you with your charges. You're here for a charge of grand theft. Your bond is $2,500, sir.
All right, I have a. thing for me now. How do I get,
The attorney's number is on.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Laura Bretania, Spanish interpreter, previously sworn.
Can you do a sound check for me?
Yes. Please allow me to connect to the podium.
Is your name Victor?
There's,
Thank you. Are you Victor?
there's,
Are you Victor?
I'm so sorry, Your Honor.
Are you Victorina Barejas?
He bonded, Your Honor.
Soy Medir.
All right, what is your name?
Medir Exaú Santos Sánchez. Es Medir.
Es Medir Augusto Santos Sánchez.
Santos Sánchez.
Sir, you're here in case number 2022 CT 745 AW. You are arrested for driving under the influence, refusal to submit to blood alcohol testing. I'll stay that bond at $100. On count 2, you are arrested and I find probable cause for driving under the influence. I'll stay that bond at $1,000 with a condition of no drugs or alcohol. Do you want a public defender to help you with those charges?
Yes.
I'll appoint them to help you. However, you have a court date on June 27th, 24th, in front of Judge Johnson for an open charge of driving under the influence. In that case, I'm revoking your release. I understand that you have private counsel. Thank you. In the meantime, corrections, what happened with Adon Hernandez?
He bonded, Your Honor.
Thank you. After that, I have Francisco Colon Andres Amador. (2022) CF 9150. Sir, what is your name?
Francisco Ernesto Colindres Amador.
Francisco Ernesto Colindres Amador.
Mr. Jose Rivas is shown as your attorney of record. You missed your court date, so you're being held at no bond on all 9 charges. All previous conditions will stay in effect. That concludes your case. Contact your attorney.
Sí, lo que pasa que en ese momento a mí me deportaron y el abogado Rivas
talk about the
nunca
failure.
me informó nada de lo que pasó.
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, what happened was that I was deported at that time, and Attorney Rivas informed me of what happened.
Okay, thank you. You also you missed your court date on a charge of no valid driver's license. I'll stay that bond at $250. Thank you, Mr. Amador. Thank you, defense. After that, I have Vince Isaac.
Okay.
Does that conclude everything for the Spanish interpreters?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Interpreter, please disconnect. We're done for the morning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Vince Isaac, medical, I'll appoint, he already has a public defender. I'm going to stay it at no bond. Are you waiving?
And I will waive the appearance.
Thank you. Next step. All right, your name, please. What is your name?
Burton.
Miss Burton, good morning. You're here for a charge of possession of drug paraphernalia. I'll appoint a public defender. Would you like that?
Yes, ma'am, but I have a case in Seminole County when I got arrested on this charge.
I know, so that might violate the terms of your release. Because of that, I will stay the bond on this case at, actually, I'll reduce it to $100.
State's gonna announce no info.
State?
State's announcing a no info for Ms. Burton.
All right, you'll be released on those, you'll be released on your own recognizance on that then.
Okay,
If there may be a hold on Seminole County, your attorney explain what all that means. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
After that, I have Hiram Cardones. I'll appoint the services of the public defender.
I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
I find probable cause, stay the bond at $500, no return to the scene of the crime, and no contact with the victim. Sandra Cushman.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cushman, do you need a public defender to help you with your criminal charges?
Yes, ma'am.
2022 MM2783, I'll appoint the services of the public defender. Is PTR, can I PTR her? Is this an offense where I can PTR?
Yes, Your Honor. Come on.
Isn't it at the top?
You saw it on top? I might have missed it. That's all.
4 lines
I do,
down.
I do find probable cause in this matter. I'm also court ordering you and reminding you that you have to abide by all terms of the injunction in case 2022 GA 58.
Your Honor, however, she doesn't qualify because she has an open case in Broward County.
All right, got that. So in this case, I'm setting your bond at $500 with the condition that you, abide by the injunction.
I don't even know what I don't really even know what.
Judge Mark has ordered she have no contact with them.
With the protected.
But it's not domestic, it's a guardianship issue. The next case I'm addressing is Caleb Fabry.
Medical, Your Honor.
In Mr. Fabry's case, I will modify the bond to $100. I'll appoint the services of the public defender. Do you want to waive?
I will waive, Your Honor, but I would also ask, it looks like he wasn't interviewed. He has no history from what I see. Could he also be screened for pretrial release, and if he qualifies?
I'll grant that request. After that is Jonathan Harris.
Any conditions for the previous defendant, Your Honor?
No return. Mr. Harris, I'm appointing the services of the public defender to assist you with these charges. Sir, I find probable cause for the charge of petty theft that occurred at Walgreens. In this case, I'm going to increase the bond to a $2,000 bond based on your criminal history, which includes, and here are the conditions of your release. No return to the Walgreens, the scene of the crime, no contact with any witnesses, and no contact with any defendants, that's the Kings or Jean. Thank you. After that is Magdala Jean. Mr. Jean, you're here for a couple, I'm sorry. Ms. Jean, you're here for a couple of cases. I'm going to go ahead and address the felony cases that you're already on release for. Do you want a public defender to help you with all charges? I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yes.
State, are you seeking that she be revoked and held at no bond on the felony out on bonds?
Your Honor, state would ask that you revoke and double, as they're not theft related, they're drug related.
Okay, in case 20, after finding probable cause in 2022 MM2820AO, I find probable cause for the charge of petty theft. I'm ordering no contact with the co-defendants, no return to that Walgreens, and I'll stay that bond at $500. On 2022 CF685AO, I'm revoking your bond. I'll give you a new bond of $5,000 per count. In case number 2021 CT15707AO, in that case, I'm revoking your bond and setting your bond at $2,000 on each count.
On
685, possession of cocaine and introduction, 2 counts.
And then the 707?
1 count, 2,000. Sorry, I wasn't clear on that. Khalid Lamer. State, is this a time served offer? He's not going to qualify for PTR because of his history, right?
I would ask for, that he be screened for mental health pretrial release, Your Honor. I have a little bit of concerns.
2022 MM2814, I'll appoint the public
Oh,
defender.
never mind, this is a
Are you
different one.
waiving his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'm not asking for mental health. It was a different case.
Mental health pretrial release if he qualifies.
Oh, no, I'm not asking. It was a different case. I'm sorry.
Pay the bond at $500, no return to the scene of the crime. After that is Michael Logan. Are you Mr. Logan?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Is this the one you want, MH?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Sir, you're here for a charge of false 911 calls. Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes.
It's a
Your
lawyer.
Honor.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, couldn't hear you quite well. Your bond is $100 or mental health pretrial release if you qualify. Laura Roldan, case number 2022 MM. Okay, thank you. After that, I have Thor Tigner. What? What's your name? All right, 2022 MM 2822.
That's the unarrest.
I don't understand. He's in front of me. I'm sorry, I don't understand what arrest means.
What's the booking number?
Booking number is 22009710. He's here in front of me, so I have to assume
No,
that.
that's not him, Your Honor.
Okay, let's talk about Thor Tigner.
Yes, one moment. Thor Tigner, they did an unarrest this morning at 6:08, so maybe
He's released?
Unarrest. The officer came back and did an unarrest on him.
You can't unarrest somebody.
So is he in custody?
He's not in custody, Your Honor, he's released.
Okay, I'm just gonna ROR him just to keep the paperwork clean because he's not present. William, Isaiah Williams.
Medical, Your Honor.
I'll appoint the services of the public defender. I find probable cause. I'll modify each bond to $100 per count, no return.
And could you also do pretrial release if he qualifies, Your Honor?
Sure.
Thank you.
After that, I have Jeremiah Sullen.
He doesn't qualify? It said not interviewed on mine. That's why I was asking.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sometimes when we get the forms generated,
Mhm.
and it keeps generating out new forms and new information.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Understood.
His reason was because medical, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Jeremiah Sullen, are you Mr. Sullen?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're here for a violation of pretrial release conditions. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
I'll appoint the services of the public defender. I find probable cause has already been found. I'm giving you a new term of your release. It's $2,000 with the conditions of no contact and no weapons. After that is Jamie Copeland.
Your Honor, for Mr.
It's only one count.
It's 2 counts, Your Honor. Wait, bring him.
Oh, hold
wait.
on. Oh, yeah. What's 2 counts? Oh, he has to be reset on both counts?
Oh, I'm sorry.
He has 2 counts on his warrant.
$2,000 on each count.
Thank you.
Sorry for the misunderstanding.
It's a violation.
Jamie Copeland. Mr. Copeland has an out on bond in 2020 CF 6599. I'm taking no action in that case. He also has a new charge of state misdemeanor violation. I do find probable cause. I'm appointing public defender and I'm releasing him ROR. Sir, you're not allowed to have any weapons and you cannot return to the scene of the crime. Do you have any questions about that?
I work at the scene of the crime.
The Quick Mart.
Please.
Thank you.
I work for, I do full service.
After that, I have Dejuan Ellis. Mr. Ellis, I see you already have an attorney who filed a motion. You missed your court date. What's the name of your attorney?
Mr. Clark.
Excuse me, I can't hear you.
Mr. Clark.
All right, you need to stay in touch with Mr. Clark. Read your paperwork when you're released. I'm releasing you in your own recognizance today. Give him a new date, please.
That way.
Terrence King is next. Mr. King, do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes.
I'm going to appoint a public defender. In both charges, I find probable cause. On the petty theft, I'm ordering no contact with the co-defendant. No, return to the scene of the crime, the Walgreens. Based on your history and the facts of these cases, I'm increasing your bond to $2,000. On the charge of driving with license suspended, I'm going to stay that bond. I find probable cause. After that, I have Jerice Robinson.
Bonded, Your Honor.
After that, I have Jennifer Anaya. Ma'am, I'm only addressing, I'm going to start off with addressing your Orange County Court cases. Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges? Yes, ma'am. I'll appoint the services of the public defender. In 2022 CF 4813, I find probable cause for obtaining goods with a credit card of another. I'm staying that bond at $1,000. On count 2, I find probable cause for false information to law enforcement officers during an investigation. I'll modify that bond to subsidiary bond at $100. It's my understanding that there is an on-view violation for your, on your violation of probation charge, for grand theft, so you'll be held at no bond on that case. After that is Grant Belcher. Grant Belcher has a.
You're welcome.
Are you Mr. Belcher? Good morning. You're here because you missed your court date for a charge of grand theft motor vehicle. Do you already have a public defender or a lawyer?
I believe I do have that. I don't know exactly.
If you don't, do you want one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, looks like you have one, so I'll go ahead and they'll stay on your case. You're being held at no bond for missing your court date. Thank you. Jeffrey Berry is next. Are you Mr. Berry? Mr. Berry, do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
In 2022 CF 4815, I'll appoint their services. I find probable cause for driving with license suspended as a habitual traffic offender and possession of cocaine. I'll stay those bonds. Your total bond is $2,600.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Daniel Brogdon is next, or Brogdon. Are you Mr. Brogdon? Do you already have a public defender or a lawyer helping you with your case?
No, I need a public defender.
If you don't have one, I'll go ahead and appoint one. Sir, you missed your court date for charges of possession of methamphetamines, grand theft motor vehicle, and resisting officer without violence. You're now being held at no bond. After that is Aubrey Brown. Mr. Brown, good morning. Do you want a public defender to help you with your new charges?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint the services of the public defender to assist you. In case number 2022 CF 4810, you picked up new charges and I find probable cause for possession of cocaine and possession of oxy. On the oxy, I'm going to modify that bond to $150. I'll stay the bond on count 1. Your total bond is $1,150. On the cocaine charge, state he has a hearing on the 19th PTCs in front of Judge Calderon. Would you like him held at no bond?
Yes, Judge.
Defense, anything else?
Your Honor, given that it's a nonviolent offense, I would ask that you consider doubling the bond as opposed to holding him in no bond. He has no failures to appear in his in his history, Your Honor.
All right, I'll follow that request. I'm gonna go beyond double. I'm gonna set his bond at $3,000 plus testing for pretrial release services at your expense. Testing can begin anytime after May 30th. Thank you, Mr. Brown. You're not to possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs or have any drug paraphernalia. O'Neill Gordon is next. Mr. Gordon, good afternoon. You're here for a charge of fleeing and attempting to elude a police officer. Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you lived in Orlando?
I've been living in Orlando my whole life.
Your whole life? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Based on the facts of this case, I'm setting your bond at $3,500. Kashira Holmes is next. Are you Ms. Holmes?
Yes, ma'am.
You missed your court date for charges of petty theft with 2 prior convictions. Your bond is $3,500. Do you already have a public defender or do you need a lawyer?
I'm trying to lower my bond. I can't get out.
I'm going to deny that request right now based on the fact that you missed a court date. A circuit court judge has set the bond at $3,500.
I don't believe there's any attorney, so I would ask that we be appointed.
Do you need a public defender? You showing?
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Arthur Jackson is next. Are you Mr. Jackson?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
I find probable cause for the following, and I'm going to stay the bonds. Possession of illegal drugs without a prescription, resisting officer by obstructing by obstructing name and possession of ammunition or weapon by a convicted felon. Your total bond is $5,250, sir. After that is Anthony Littles. State. Is this a PBL state?
Yes, on count two.
Okay, on count two.
Yes, Judge.
Defense, do you need a public defender to help you with your case, Mr. Littles? I know that Ms. Kagan is representing you on a case where you're already out on bond. For your new charges, do you want a public defender to help you right now?
For now, yeah.
All right, I'll appoint the services of the public defender. Defense, do you want to be heard on bonds? Currently, he's no bond on counts 1, 2, and 3. And then I'll go ahead and read informal charges.
It's a life offense. No, Your Honor.
Sir, I find probable cause for trafficking in Oxycontin greater than 4 grams with the firearm. Count 2, trafficking in methamphetamines greater than 28 grams with the weapon. Count 3, trafficking between 200 and 400 grams of MDMA. Count 4, grand theft, 3rd degree of a firearm. Count 5, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver. And finally, count 6, possession of cannabis greater than 20 grams with a weapon. I'm only appointing the public defender for these purposes of IA. On state, on 1, 2, and 3, how do you want me to set them?
Your Honor, he's entitled to bond on 1 and 3. State would ask for no bond on 2. For count 1, I know Your Honor can deviate from the bond schedule. However, it comes in at $200,000. State would ask for that on count 1. And the bond schedule on count 3 comes in at $250,000 as there is no weapon on that charge.
Okay.
State would ask that you set him as that due to the street value of the amount of drugs that he had. State believes it's reasonable.
So noted. On count 1, I'm setting bond at $200,000. On count 2, I'm holding you at no bond. On count 3, I'm going to set bond at $50,000. Count 4, I'll stay the bond. Count 5, I'll stay the bond. Count 6, I'll stay the bond. However, you have case 2021 CF 4661 for trafficking in controlled substances. Your court date is not until June 29th. Let Ms. Kagan know because you're going to be held at no bond on those charges. After that is Carl Macon. Good morning, Mr. Macon. Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint the services of the public defender. I find probable cause has been found for possession of MDMA, possession between, that's trafficking amounts, possession of cocaine, and possession of MDMA ecstasy, non-trafficking amounts. Right now, your bond is set at $50,000. Defense, do you want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, I would ask that you consider reducing the bond amount. My client is currently disabled. He has been in the Orlando area for well over a year. And it looks like even though he has, even though he has 2 failures to appear, the last one was all the way back in 2009, Your Honor. And his last conviction was a nonviolent offense of driving. I just ask that you consider reducing the trafficking.
On count 1, I'm going to modify that to $30,000. Stay the bonds on count 2 and 3. I'm also ordering that you not possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs or have any drug paraphernalia. So $30,000 is the modification. And stay on count 2 and 3. Leonard Miller. Are you Mr. Miller?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Miller, do you need a public defender for your new charge of possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver?
Yes, ma'am.
Probable cause has been found for the offense, which was alleged to have occurred on or about April 20th. I'll stay that bond at $2,500. However, you have case numbers 2022 CF 1890 and 2022 CF 601891. State hasn't made the filing decision yet, but they are similar charges, so I'm holding you at no bond and revoking your release on that.
Your Honor, I would ask that you consider doubling, being that he was arrested all the way back in February, on February 16th, and the state still has not filed.
I'll deny that request. The next person I'm addressing is Jordan Noble.
Bonded, Your Honor.
After that is Norris Palmer. Mr. Palmer, do you need a public defender to help you with your new charges?
Yes.
I'm not sure if you have a public defender on your petty theft with 2 priors. If you don't have one, would you like one?
Yes.
All right, thank you. In case number 2022 CF 4821, you were arrested and I find probable cause for possession of cocaine as well as trafficking in cocaine. I'm going to stay those bonds and order that you have, that you not possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs or have any paraphernalia. In case 2022 CF 2917AO, I'm going to revoke your release and I'll give you a bond in that case of $2,000. Michael Sapio is next.
Okay, so my bond.
Michael Sapio has case number 2019 CF 10166. Are you Mr. Sapio? Sir, you're here because you missed your court date for a charge of grand theft. You're being held at no bond. The public defender's office will stay on your case. Thank you, sir. After that is Terry Say. Thank you. After that is William Sider.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sider. You're here for a charge of aggravated battery with a firearm. You're currently being held at no bond. Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint the services of the public defender. Another judge did find probable cause. State, do you want to be heard on monetary bond?
Yes, Your Honor. State would just bring to your attention that he does have at least 9 prior failures to appear, one that is relatively recent, as well as several violent convictions in Florida, an ag assault on a firefighter, shooting and throwing a missile into a dwelling, carrying it concealed.
Do you have a suggested monetary amount, State?
Your Honor, given that it's an F2. Your Honor, State would ask for at least $5,000.
What's that defense?
No objection to the 5,000, Your Honor.
All right, based on the facts of this case and his criminal history, I can't follow that. I have concerns about the safety of the victim and the community. And I am considering his criminal record that State has already put on. In this case, I'm setting his bond at $15,000. I'm ordering no contact with the victim or any witness in this case or the victim's family. Additionally, you're not to own any weapons. Well, that's part of your felony obligation, so I'm still ordering no weapons. Thank you. Cassandra Slade is next. Are you Miss Slade?
I'm doing fine.
Good morning, good afternoon. You're hearing case number 2021 CF 4137. Is your first name Cassandra?
Yes.
Miss Slade, do you already have a public defender that's helping you with your case?
I want to represent myself. I don't want a public defender.
We already are.
All right. So they're already on the case, so I'm going to keep them on, especially since you're getting your conditions released, conditions of release revoked. So you're facing a charge of battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting officer with violence, as well as resisting officer without violence. I'm modifying it, and I'm going to file the suggested bonds at $5,000 plus $150 plus 100 for a total of $5,250. Your attorney can assist you.
So,
You have
I'm on
somebody-
RR.
No, you're not. Somebody has to help post those bonds because you violated your pretrial release.
Okay, when is the next court day?
Your attorney can assist you with that. After that is Michael Thomas. Are you Michael Thomas? Mr. Thomas, do you need a public defender to help you with your charges? All right, I'm going to start with the violation of probation from another county. You're being held at no bond in that case. I'll appoint the public defender for the purposes of you being held in Orange County Jail. In case number 2022 CF 4822, I find probable cause for possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver, possession of methamphetamine with intent to sell or deliver, resisting officer without violence, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of fentanyl. I find probable cause. I'll stay all the bonds. Your total bond is $15,500 with the condition that you not possess any illegal drugs or have any drug paraphernalia. After that is Michael Wakely.
Behavior, Your Honor.
All right, I'll go ahead and stay his bond at no bond. The PD's office will be appointed if they're not already.
Thank you, Your Honor.
After that is Darius Walker.
Behavior, Your Honor.
All right, he'll also remain in a no bond on his charges for drugs and paraphernalia. The PD's office will be appointed if they're not already. And after that, I have Eddie Watkins, case number, are you Mr. Watkins?
No.
Good afternoon, sir. You're here in case number 2022 CF 4816 for grand theft third degree. Do you need a public defender for that charge? I'll appoint the services of the public defender. I do find probable cause. Defense counsel, he has an arraignment for a resisting charge later on in May. I'm willing to do an adjudication time served on that.
Yes, Your Honor, he would like to accept.
State any objection to that?
No, Judge.
All right, I'll give you a moment to review the plea form. Anything I need to sign?
The one you get ready to do.
Just for the court's awareness, the previous recommendation from the ASA in that trial division was PTD or a withhold.
Was what?
He qualified for pretrial diversion or a withhold. That was the recommendation from.
Right now, he's at a position, though, where he would have his bond revoked.
Yes.
Just so if they want to maintain that.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, how do you plead to the charge of resisting officer without violence in case number 2022 MM1720AO? Thank you.
Contest, ma'am.
Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
No contest.
And do you understand what no contest means?
I do.
Mr. Watkins, are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, ma'am.
I'm showing you this paper. I saw you sign it in court. Did you read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, do you understand that if you were on probation at the time you committed that crime, by entering a plea today, your probation would be violated?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins, do you also understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you will be subject to deportation by entering a plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you have a criminal history of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated under the laws of the state, by entering a plea, you would be civilly committed. Do you understand that?
Yes.
For the charge of resisting officer without violence, I will adjudicate you guilty, impose a time-served sentence plus court cost. I'll give you 1 year to pay your court costs and any applicable public defender fees. The new charge you have is grand theft. I do find that there's probable cause, and I'm staying that bond at $2,500 with a no return. You'll be released on your misdemeanor offense today. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from corrections or trial clerk? Anything else from the public defender's office?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, court is adjourned.
Bond court is a free service, but it takes several hours of my time every day. Less than 10% of Bond court viewers hit the like button, and less than 1% leave a comment. If you want Bond court to continue to be available on YouTube for free, then please hit the like button and leave a comment on all of my videos.
Hey there, can you hear me over at the jail?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Can you see me as well?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're just having a little bit of a technical difficulty making sure that everything is turned on correctly. The state attorney is on this end and pretrial release is on this end, but I don't think you'll be able to see them and they can't see you.
Yes, Your Honor.
But I appreciate your patience. Did they watch the video? All right. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Judge Unsavage. We're going to go ahead and get started. When I call your name, please come on up to the microphone, the one closest to the wall. I'm going to tell you the reason why you've been detained, whether or not there's probable cause for your detention, and then I will tell you what the conditions of your release will be, if any. I know the video played.
Your Honor, if I may, I just do have a request from corrections about who goes first.
Okay. Once I finish my spiel, I will entertain your request.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So I've reviewed all the paperwork that was submitted. I know that you watched the video. Hopefully you were paying attention to the video because there's some really important information there. I am not going to change another judge's bond. So if you were arrested on a warrant, that warrant came with a bond. It means that the judge who signed the warrant already read it and reviewed it, decided there was probable cause, and set what he or she thought was an appropriate bond. I'm not going to change those. The only thing I will change is if it came in on a 0 and it's something that I'm obligated to consider, then of course I will consider it. But beyond that, we'll just take everything case by case. If we know what your next court date is, we will tell you. If it hasn't been set yet, if you hear the clerk say on demand, that means we don't know it yet, but please keep in touch with either your lawyer or the clerk's office if you are able to get out of the jail, so that you don't miss your next court date. If you are still in custody for your next court date, we will give you a ride. So not a problem. Okay, what is the request?
The corrections would like Mr. Capote taken first if possible, Your Honor.
Yes, that's fine.
And I have also identified multiple individuals who require the services of the Spanish interpreter.
Yes, I have those at the front. The clerk gave me those together. I just don't know, am I just supposed to call for an interpreter through the line? Okay, so Genghis Capote, 22mm 978. Let me log into my computer while I'm here just in case I end up needing it. Good afternoon, sir. Please tell me your name. That mic isn't on. I can't hear anything. Is it not on for a reason?
No, it is currently on, Your Honor. Can you not hear him still?
Nope. It's not amplified.
One moment, if I may take a look, Your Honor.
Sure, of course. Maybe there's a button?
Yes, Your Honor, we are checking now.
Can you hear now?
Yes. Third time's the charm, Mr. Capote. Please say your name.
Thank God, Jesus Christ, my favorite kind of God. My name is Genghis Capote.
Thank you.
It's Genghis Capote like Genghis Khan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's all I need. You were here arrested for trespass after warning. There is probable cause. PTR. Oh, and I apologize. I neglected to ask for appearances from the state.
Rachel Klein here on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
From the public defender.
John Mancini on behalf of the Public Defender's Office, Your Honor.
And for pretrial release.
Tricia Jenkins on behalf of PTR.
Hold on one second.
Court reporting called that they are having difficulty hearing us, so she's contacting IT. So she asked if we can stop a little bit, because otherwise it won't be recorded.
Did you hear that, Mr. Mancini?
I did not, Your Honor.
Court reporting called and said that they're having some difficulties downstairs, and they've asked that we take a pause until they get IT involved, because obviously the proceedings have to be properly recorded.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, it's working now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, it's working now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I apologize. All right, so for the record, 22mm 978. State versus Genghis Capote. Mr. Capote's over at the jail. The public defender is at the jail. State attorney is present with me here. Pretrial release officer is present with me here. Arrested for trespass, failure to leave. The court found probable cause, and I was asking PTR for any history.
Yes, ma'am. From 1987 up to 2013, grand theft, burglary, petty theft, fleeing and eluding. He'd been a DOC twice in 1988 and 1989, VOP, and from 2019 to 2022, resisting officer without violence, fleeing and eluding, robbery with no firearm, and criminal mischief.
Now, there's a note on the risk assessment sheet that says pending competency hearing, but I couldn't find which case number that was under.
Rachel Klein on behalf of the state. The state can speak to that. I was the prosecutor on that case. Competency was withdrawn by the PD, Mary Jane Cooper, and he pled to an underlying assault charge misdemeanor.
So there's no open other case that I need to be aware of?
There's no open case in Osceola County, Your Honor.
And competency was withdrawn?
And competency was withdrawn after a competency found by Dr. Skaczynski.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Mancini?
I'm just confirming as well, Your Honor. My office did have 2 evals done, and he was found competent to proceed.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Based on the information as provided by the court will stay bond at $500 plus no return to Walgreens. Do you need a public defender, Mr. Capote?
But since I have brain surgery. I have bad memory. I got trespassed like 5 months ago.
So you want a lawyer, sir?
I spent 4 months here and I've been free 17 days. That's 5
Sir, do you
months.
want a public defender
For what?
to represent you? Do you want a lawyer?
I'm not getting released.
No, well, you could post your bond. If you're able to post your bond, you could get released. Do you want a lawyer?
Yes.
Public defender provisionally appointed. Next court date?
On demand.
Thank you.
Your Honor, he do qualify for direct PTR. Okay.
Thank you. All right, let me call for the interpreter. Mr. Mancini, was that the only one that was a move-up request?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Claudia Villalba, court interpreter.
Good afternoon. It's Judge John Savage. I'm doing first appearances. Are you able to help us, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. The first one is Pedro Hernandez Negroni, 22MM993.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. 1 second, please. Let me connect to the headphones.
There's no headphones. It's
yes.
Its first appearances through the jail.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'm a freelancer, so I forgot.
No problem.
Your Honor, your name again, please?
Stefania Jancevich, Jancewicz.
And the defendant's name and the case number again?
Pedro Hernandez Negroni.
Got it.
22MM993.
993.
Have you been sworn today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So Mr. Hernandez Negroni is at the podium. Can you ask him, please, if he can hear you?
Señor Hernández Negrón, ¿me oye?
Sí.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Please say your name.
Buenas tardes, señor. Por favor, diga su nombre.
Pedro Juan Hernández Negroni.
Pedro Juan Hernández Negroni.
Mr. Hernandez, you were arrested for
Señor
domestic
Hernández, usted lo arrestaron por violencia intrafamiliar.
Ma'am, it's not going to be simultaneous translation. I'm 'cause
sorry.
There's no headphones.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I forgot, Your Honor. So sorry.
That's okay.
Señor, a usted lo acusan de violencia doméstica.
I've read the affidavit and there is probable cause.
He leído la declaración jurada y hallo de que hay un motivo fundado.
I'm now going to ask a question to the pretrial release officer.
Ahora le voy a hacer una pregunta al oficial del programa de libertad previa al juicio.
If I could ask PTR to go slowly so the interpreter can translate piece by piece.
Y le voy a pedir al oficial de libertad previa al juicio que vaya despacio para que la intérprete lo pueda interpretar poco a poco.
Any history from Mr. Hernandez?
No, ma'am, no prior arrest.
¿El señor Hernández tiene antecedentes algunos? No, señora, no tiene ningún arresto previo.
Bond will be set at $500.
Se fijará la fianza en la suma de $500.
The risk assessment indicates low risk.
Y una evaluación del riesgo indica de que el riesgo es bajo.
And that he qualifies for PTR with bond.
Y que él reúne los requisitos necesarios para que se les deje salir en libertad mientras el caso está pendiente con fianza.
So again, $500 with pretrial release supervision.
Así que nuevamente, $500 bajo la supervisión del programa de supervisión previa al juicio.
No contact with listed victim.
No deberá tener contacto con la víctima nombrada.
No return to the shared residence.
Ni tampoco podrá regresar al domicilio en la Sherry.
One return. Oh wow, I just lost my train of thought.
One-time return with law
That's it.
enforcement.
Podrá regresar una vez acompañado por las autoridades.
No weapons or firearms.
No podrá tener armas ni armas de fuego.
Do you need a public defender, sir?
Señor, ¿necesita usted un defensor público? Señor.
No.
No.
What are you going to do for an attorney?
¿Y qué va a hacer entonces para un abogado?
No sé.
I don't know. I still don't know.
Okay, so this is about your bond and your arrest.
Bien, esto tiene que ver con su fianza y con su arresto.
It doesn't mean that the case is over today.
Esto no significa de que el caso termine hoy.
You should consider consulting an attorney with regard to these charges.
Usted debería consultar con un abogado lo de sus cargos.
You are free to retain any private attorney you wish.
Usted está en plena libertad de contratar a cualquier abogado particular que usted desee contratar.
You can apply for a public defender if you feel that you cannot afford to hire private counsel.
Y si le parece que usted no tiene los medios económicos para contratar a un abogado particular, usted puede entonces solicitar los servicios del defensor público.
Next court date.
La próxima cita ante el tribunal.
On demand means that they'll inform you. It's not set yet.
Todavía no se ha fijado la fecha aún, así que cuando hayan fijado la fecha se lo dejarán saber a usted, o sea que queda pendiente.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Next one in Spanish, Samuel Febres, 22 MM 981.
Samuel Febres. Yes.
Good afternoon, please say your name.
Buenas tardes, por favor diga su nombre.
Samuel Febres Herrera.
Samuel Febres Herrera.
Mr. Febres, you were arrested for
Señor
domestic
Febres.
violence battery.
Señor Febres, a usted lo arrestaron por un acto de agresión física, de violencia doméstica.
I've read the affidavit and there is probable cause.
He leído el affidavit y parece que hay un motivo fundado.
I'm going to ask pretrial release if there's any history.
Le voy a preguntar al representante de libertad previa al juicio si usted tiene antecedentes algunos.
2019, possession of marijuana.
En el año 2019 tuvo un caso de tenencia de marihuana,
Possession of drug equipment.
de tenencia de equipo para el uso de drogas,
Weapon offense.
un delito relacionado con armas,
Grand theft auto.
hurto cuantioso de un auto
Possession of motor vehicle with altered numbers.
y tenencia de un vehículo cuyos números habían sido alterados.
And that's it.
Y eso es todo.
Based on the risk assessment sheet, sir, you score low.
Señor, en base a la hoja que se usó para determinar el nivel de riesgo, el puntaje es bajo.
You qualify for pretrial release with a bond.
Usted reúne las condiciones necesarias para dejarlo en libertad bajo la supervisión del programa de libertad previa al juicio y fianza.
Therefore, I will set your bond at $500
Por lo tanto, le voy a fijar la fianza en la suma de $500
with pretrial release supervision.
con la supervisión del programa de libertad previa al juicio.
No contact with the listed victim.
No deberá tener contacto con la víctima mencionada,
No return to the shared residence.
ni tampoco podrá regresar al domicilio que comparten.
One-time assist order permitted with law enforcement.
Podrá regresar en una sola ocasión acompañado por las autoridades.
Do not possess any weapons or firearms.
No deberá tener en su poder ningún tipo de arma ni arma de fuego.
Do you need a public defender, sir?
Señor, ¿necesita usted un defensor público? Yes.
PD will be appointed provisionally.
Se le nombrará uno provisionalmente.
Next court date.
La próxima cita ante el tribunal queda pendiente.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Next case, Narciso Pineda Peña, 22 MM 986.
President approaching, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. Please say your name.
Buenas tardes, señor. Por favor, diga su nombre.
Buenas tardes. Narciso de Jesús Pineda Peña.
Good afternoon. Narciso de Jesús Pineda Peña.
Sir, you were arrested for domestic violence battery.
Señor, usted lo arrestaron por un caso de violencia doméstica, por agresión física.
I read the affidavit and there is probable cause.
Leí el affidavit y hay un motivo fundado.
And PTR, any history?
Hay antecedentes. Señora del programa de libertad previa al juicio, ¿tiene los antecedentes? No, su señoría no tiene antecedentes.
Sir, based on the risk assessment sheet, you score relatively low.
Señor, en base a la hoja que se hace para determinar el nivel de riesgo, su puntaje es bastante bajo.
Relatively no, not sufficiently low.
Relativamente bajo, no lo suficientemente bajo, relativamente.
And you qualify for pretrial release with bond.
Y usted reúne los requisitos necesarios para que se le deje a usted en libertad provisional previa al juicio más fianza.
Based on what I read in the affidavit, I'm setting your bond at $1,000.
Y en base a lo que yo he leído en la declaración jurada por escrito, le fijo a usted la fianza en la suma de $1,000
with pretrial release supervision.
bajo la supervisión del programa de supervisión previa al juicio.
You may not have any contact with the listed victim.
No deberá tener contacto alguno con la víctima mencionada.
You may not return to the shared residence.
No podrá regresar al domicilio que comparten.
You can have a one-time assist order to retrieve your personal belongings with law enforcement.
Usted puede una vez regresar a dicho domicilio ayudado y acompañado por las autoridades para usted sacar sus bienes personales.
You may not possess any weapons or firearms.
No deberá poseer ningún tipo de arma ni arma de fuego.
You may not possess or consume any alcohol.
No deberá poseer ni consumir ningún tipo de bebida alcohólica.
Or frequent places where the primary purpose is selling or serving alcohol.
Ni tampoco deberá frecuentar ningún lugar cuyo negocio principal es la venta o el consumo de bebidas alcohólicas.
You need a public defender?
¿Necesita un defensor público? Sí. Yes.
PD will be provisionally appointed.
Se le nombrará provisionalmente un defensor público.
Next court date?
La próxima cita que tendrá ante el tribunal
On demand.
también queda pendiente.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Next one in Spanish, Jonathan Rivera Villalongo, 22 MM989. Good afternoon, please say your name.
Buenas tardes. Por favor, diga su nombre. Good afternoon.
Jonathan Emilio Rivera Villalongo.
Jonathan Emilio Rivera Villalongo.
Sir, you were arrested for domestic violence battery.
Señora, usted lo arrestaron por violencia doméstica por un acto de agresión física.
I've read the affidavit and there is probable cause.
Leí el affidavit y hay una causa fundada.
Let me ask pre-trial release if there's any history.
Le voy a preguntar al programa de libertad previa al juicio si tiene antecedentes.
Your Honor, no prior arrest.
Su señoría no tiene arrestos previos.
Sir, your bond is going to be set at $1,000
Señor, la fianza se le va a fijar en la suma de $1,000
with pre-trial release supervision.
bajo la supervisión del programa de libertad previa al juicio.
You may not have any contact with the listed victim.
No deberá tener contacto con la víctima mencionada.
You may not return to the shared residence.
No podrá regresar al domicilio que comparten.
You may have a one-time assist order to retrieve personal belongings.
Le darán una orden que le permitirá a usted regresar al domicilio una sola vez para sacar sus pertenencias,
Accompanied by law enforcement.
acompañado por los agentes del orden público.
You may not possess any weapons or firearms.
No deberá tener en su poder ningún tipo de arma ni armas de fuego.
Do you need a public defender?
¿Necesita un defensor público? Yes.
PD will be provisionally appointed.
Se le nombrará provisionalmente un defensor público.
Next court date.
On demand.
La próxima cita ante el tribunal queda todavía pendiente por fijarse.
Thank you.
Gracias.
The last one in Spanish is Martha Valdovinos Alvarez, 22 MM981.
President of Burton, Your Honor. I have also identified one more Spanish speaker.
Okay, thanks. Good afternoon, ma'am. Please say your name.
Buenas tardes, señora. Por favor, diga su nombre.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Marta Valdovinos.
Good afternoon. My name is Marta Valdovinos.
Ma'am, you were arrested for domestic violence battery.
Señora, usted la arrestaron por violencia doméstica por un acto de agresión física.
I've read the affidavit and there is probable cause.
Leí el affidavit y hay un motivo fundado.
PTR, any history?
Libertad previa al juicio. ¿Tiene historial o antecedentes ella?
Your Honor, no prior history in Florida. She have California history.
Su señoría, ella no tiene antecedentes en el estado de la Florida, pero sí tiene antecedentes en California.
From 2009 to 2012, it was just her immigration status.
Entre el año 2009 y el 2012, pero era solamente pertinente a su estado migratorio.
Ma'am, how long have you been living in Florida?
Señora, ¿cuánto tiempo lleva usted viviendo en Florida?
Yo vengo de vacaciones, vive mi hermana aquí en Florida varios años, 5 años. Yo vivo en Nueva York, voy y vengo.
I'm here on vacation. My sister lives in Florida. She has been living here for about 5 years. I live in New York. I come and go.
Okay, so do you spend more time here or more time in New York?
Bueno, entonces, ¿usted pasa más tiempo aquí o más tiempo en Nueva York?
Más tiempo en Nueva York.
More time in New York.
Then the court is going to set bond at $1,000.
Entonces, el tribunal le va a fijar a usted la fianza en la suma de $1,000
plus pretrial release.
y además libertad bajo supervisión previa al juicio.
You may not have any contact with the listed victim.
No deberá tener contacto alguno con la víctima nombrada.
You are to maintain a separate residence.
Y usted va a tener que tener un domicilio aparte.
You may not possess any weapons or firearms.
No podrá tener en su poder ningún tipo de arma ni arma de fuego.
Do you need a public defender?
¿Necesita usted un defensor público?
No.
No.
Next court date?
La próxima cita ante el tribunal. So sorry, Your Honor, the interpreter couldn't hear that.
On demand?
Thank you. La próxima cita judicial queda todavía pendiente por fijarse.
Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you.
Yes. Which one was the one that you identified that I didn't have in my list?
Your Honor, actually I've identified two now. It is Miss Edith Arturo Montero and then Mr. Saul Melendez Garcia, Your Honor.
And they legitimately need an interpreter, or is it sudden loss of English syndrome?
I believe, I'm sure Miss Edith does. She has not been able to communicate with me in English at all.
And then the other one you said was Montero?
Well, Montero is Edith, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, and then Saul Melendez Garcia.
Melendez, sorry.
I'm pretty sure he also has issues.
Okay. Edith Aparicio Montero, 22 mm 977.
Edith Aparicio Montero, 22 mm 977.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Please say your name.
Buenas tardes, señora. Por favor, diga su nombre.
Buenas tardes, Edith Aparicio Montero.
Good afternoon, Edith Aparicio Montero.
Ma'am, you were arrested for domestic violence battery.
Señora, usted la arrestaron por un caso de violencia doméstica por agresión física.
I've read the affidavit and there is probable cause.
He leído la affidavit y hallo de que existe un motivo fundado.
PTR, any history?
Antecedentes penales, ¿acaso libertad previa al juicio?
Your Honor, from 2003 to 2017, driving while license suspended twice, vehicle registration expired, and leaving the scene of accident.
Oh, okay.
Su señoría, desde el año 2003 hasta el 2017, tuvo 2 casos por manejar mientras tenía la licencia suspendida, por tener el registro del vehículo vencido y también por irse del lugar donde ocurrió un accidente.
Ma'am, the address that you gave in Lake Worth, is that where you live?
Señora, la dirección que usted proporcionó en Lake Worth es allí donde usted vive. Yes.
Do you need an interpreter?
¿Usted necesita intérprete? Yes.
Okay, because you answered my last question before she translated it.
Sí, porque usted respondió la última pregunta que yo le hice antes de que ella la tradujera.
Porque a veces entiendo, pero para hablarlo no lo hablo muy bien. Entonces, por eso quiero estar segura.
Well, because sometimes I understand it, but when it comes to speaking it, I don't speak it very well. So I just wanted to be sure through the interpreter.
Bond will be set at $500 with pretrial release supervision.
La fianza se le fija en la suma de $500, también la supervisión del programa de libertad previa al juicio.
You may not have any contact with the listed victim.
No deberá tener contacto alguno con la víctima nombrada.
You may not return to the shared residence.
No podrá regresar al domicilio que ustedes comparten.
One-time assist order will be permitted with law enforcement.
Se le otorgará una orden de ayuda para que vaya una sola vez acompañada por agentes del orden público.
Do not possess any weapons or firearms.
No podrá poseer armas de fuego ni armas.
Do not possess or consume any alcohol.
No deberá poseer ni consumir ningún tipo de bebida alcohólica.
Do not frequent any places where the primary purpose is selling or serving alcohol.
Ni tampoco deberá frecuentar ningún lugar cuyo servicio primordial es la venta o el consumo de bebidas alcohólicas.
Do you need a public defender?
¿Necesita usted un defensor público?
Sí.
Yes.
PD will be appointed provisionally.
Se le nombrará un defensor público provisionalmente.
Next court date.
Y la próxima cita que tiene ante el tribunal seguirá pendiente hasta que se le notifique.
Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you.
You're welcome. Saul Melendez. Case number, two cases, 22 MM 983, 22 CF 1229. Good afternoon, sir. Please say your name.
Buenas tardes, señor. Por favor, diga su nombre.
Saúl Meléndez.
Saul Melendez.
Sir, you were arrested on 2 charges.
Señor, a usted lo arrestaron por 2 cargos.
Fleeing and eluding with lights and sirens at high speed.
Por huirle a las autoridades a una alta velocidad mientras estaban encendidas las luces y las sirenas.
And then resisting without violence.
Y de ahí de resistirse sin violencia.
I've read the affidavit. There is probable cause.
He leído el affidavit y aparece de que hay un motivo fundado.
I didn't have a sheet on him for PTR that I can find, or maybe I misplaced it.
No encontré la hoja para el programa de libertad previa al juicio para él, o no sé, tal vez lo coloqué en un lugar equivocado.
When I was pulling it out of the order in here, I might have missed it attached to something else. Oh, wait, I found it.
Oh, no, espere, ya lo encontré. Tal vez lo cambié de orden cuando estaba sacándolo.
Hooked onto the paper clip of the one underneath.
Se había enganchado con el ganchito de papel, se juntó al otro papel que estaba ahí al lado.
I know that he does not qualify for PTR.
Yo sé que él no reúne los requisitos necesarios para que se le ponga bajo la supervisión del programa de libertad previa al juicio. Así es.
What's his history?
¿Qué antecedentes tiene?
From 2016, he have resisting, larceny, disorderly conduct.
Del año 2016 tiene un cargo por resistirse a las autoridades, por hurto y por comportamiento desordenado.
2021, possession of controlled substance, larceny, assault.
Y del año 2021 tiene un caso de posesión de sustancias reguladas, de hurto mayor y también de intimidación o amenazas.
And also he has reckless driving in 2022 and robbery first degree 2022, and there are possible open cases out of Connecticut.
Y también tiene un caso por manejar temerariamente en el año 2022 y también tiene un caso de robo con violencia, un delito mayor de primer grado del 2022 y también es posible de que tenga casos aún pendientes en el estado de Connecticut.
The resisting will be set at $1,000.
Por el cargo de resistirse se le fijará una fianza en la suma de $1,000.
The fleeing and eluding will be set at $15,000.
Y el cargo por huir y tratar de escaparse se le fijará una fianza en la suma de $15,000.
You may not drive.
No deberá manejar.
The court is going to enter a D6 suspension on your privilege to drive until further order.
Y la jueza sentará una orden de 6 en contra de su privilegio de chofer hasta que el tribunal lo disponga de una manera diferente.
Do you need a public defender?
¿Necesita usted un defensor público?
Sí.
Yes.
PD will be provisionally appointed.
Se le nombrará un defensor público provisionalmente.
Next court date.
La próxima cita ante el tribunal quedará pendiente hasta que se le informe.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Mr. Mancini, anybody else in Spanish?
That is all I've identified, Your Honor.
Thank you to the interpreter.
You're very welcome, Your Honor. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Felix Burgos, 22 MM 994.
I believe he, according to corrections and my paperwork, he's still in the hospital. We'd be asking for a 24-hour reset.
That's not a problem. Why don't we do this based on his need? When he is released from the hospital, the corrections department can inform the IA clerk and we'll get him back on the schedule at that point. It makes no sense to keep putting him on every single day to just keep rolling him.
Your Honor, I appreciate that.
All right. So he's in the hospital. Randall Humphrey.
President approaching, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Please say your name.
Randall Humphrey.
Mr. Humphrey, you were arrested on a warrant for domestic violence battery. The judge who signed the warrant found probable cause. I read it as well so that I can be familiar with what's being alleged. I'm going to ask PTR if there's any history.
From 2006 to 2021 out of Florida, he have marijuana distribution, drugs, possession, burglary, grand theft, fleeing and eluding, failure to appear a couple of times, VOP, possession of weapon, and public order crimes. And out of California, battery, from 2019, battery, spouse, inflict corporal injury on the spouse, and child cruelty.
Do we know if it was alleged to be the same person who's the victim in this paperwork?
We don't know because it's out of state and we can't see everything.
Based on that history, sir, specifically on the failures to appear and the VOPs, which indicate to the court a failure to comply with court orders, the court's setting your bond at $5,000 with pretrial release supervision. You may not have any contact with the listed victim. You may not return to any shared residence. You can, if there was a shared residence still, you can have a one-time assist order to retrieve your personal belongings, and you may not possess any weapons or firearms. Do you need a public defender?
Yes, ma'am.
PD will be appointed provisionally. I'm not sure. I believe that there are children in common, but I don't know that they necessarily were living together at the exact time. I don't recall. I read so many domestic violence petitions today. So, but if that's the case and he has personal belongings, an assist order will be allowed. Next court date will be on demand, Mr. Humphrey. Thank you. So whoever was arrested as John Doe, 3193.
President approaching, Your Honor.
Do we know any name? Are we considering a name?
I believe there was one provided in the arrest affidavit, Your Honor. They just could not confirm it through the Connecticut information.
Understood.
They have the Social Security.
Give me one moment. I will flip to that word. Is it my
Okay, thanks. Good afternoon, sir. What's your name?
Nathan Rodriguez.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez, do you know anybody who you can call, maybe your sister who provided your Social Security card, that would be able to send something that has your picture on it?
At the moment, we don't have no picture IDs because we had lost everything, so we're trying to get everything back, but we wasn't able to get it yet.
Okay. So what I have is 2 booking reports, 2 arrest reports. The first one has 3 counts: fleeing and eluding with lights and sirens, driving without a license, and reckless driving. And then the second booking report is a charge of grand theft auto. I've read the affidavits. There is probable cause. PTR, based on the name Nathan Rodriguez, were you able to find anything?
No, ma'am. We couldn't find it. We ran the Social Security number, we ran his name, and
It didn't even come back as anybody?
No, ma'am. No history came back whatsoever.
Not
even with his name. We ran his name. It didn't come back with anything. We ran his Social Security number. It wouldn't come back with anything. So we unable to really say who he is.
Right. This social and this name did not provide you with any info.
Right.
Not that he has no criminal history, that there's nothing.
Right.
Okay. So there's still no confirmation that it's him.
Right.
Do you know if they ran his prints yet?
I'm not for sure. I know he just turned 18, so I don't know if that's the reason why there's nothing coming back on him. He just turned 18 in February, I think.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez, you're from Connecticut?
Yes, ma'am.
From New Britain?
Yes, ma'am.
And how old are you?
I just turned 18.
Okay. What about like a school ID? Something from one of your schools?
My mom is trying her hardest to get a school ID, but I don't think so since I don't go to the same school no more. I don't even go to school, but they're trying to see if I could get a school ID, but it's...
Even a previous one, even one from a school you used to go to, just something that has your name and your picture so we can say, yeah, this is the same kid. It doesn't have to be an active current one. It just has to be something.
Yeah,
do you have a passport?
No, I don't got nothing.
Do you have a driver's license, ID card, anything?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna have to figure out a way to get you identified. I can't give you a bond yet. I need to know who you are before I can release you. I need to know that it's safe to release you and that you are not a risk to the community and that you are not a flight risk. So I'm gonna roll this to tomorrow. And hopefully the public defenders can help you figure out a way. I'm gonna be doing first appearances all week. So I have no problem every day rolling him back on and on to give him time. I don't want him to get lost in the jail. I want to get it resolved. But I need something that we can confirm he is who he says he is.
Yes, Your Honor. He has
Right.
already filled out an application for office. I'll be happy to start that.
All right, so the PD will be appointed provisionally. Until then, though, until tomorrow, bond will remain at 0.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And we'll set him back for tomorrow for status, IA status. Thank you. Dwight Edwards?
President approaching, Your Honor.
Thanks. Good afternoon. Please say your name.
My name is Dwight Edwards.
Thank you. Mr. Edwards, you were arrested for 3 different counts. Criminal attempt of a capital felony, discharging a firearm from a vehicle, and attempted murder. There is probable cause. PTR, any history?
Your Honor, out of West Virginia, 2015 DUI failed to yield right of way, and out of New York, aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle.
Mr. Edwards, how long have you been in Florida?
I've been in Florida since 08.
Since 08, okay. Bond in count 1 will be set at $20,000. Count 2 will be 1,000. Count 3 will remain at 0. No weapons or firearms, no contact with the victims, no return to scene. Do you need a public defender?
Yes, ma'am.
PD will be appointed provisionally.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you have a question?
Yes. When I get out, would I be able to have a firearm until all this is cleared?
Until, I'm sorry, will you be able to do what?
He wants to have a gun while on bond.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Will I have something to defend myself until all this is cleared?
No, while the case is pending, while these charges are open, you are prohibited from possessing or owning any type of weapon or firearm.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, next court date will be on demand, sir. Thank you. Miguel Rivera Davila.
President approaching, Your Honor. Your Honor, he is informing me that he requires the services of the Spanish interpreter.
How come you're just telling us now?
He did not.
No, not you, Mr. Mancini. Sorry, I wouldn't talk. Mr. Rivera, no English?
Hello?
Nada.
Little bit.
Little bit.
Little bit.
So you don't understand what I'm saying?
Right now, yes.
Okay. Dame un momento, por favor.
Gracias.
Judge Arendis, we just had a lot of Spanish cases and it took a little while for us to get through them.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Rafael Barreras, State Certified Court Interpreter. I have been previously sworn.
Good afternoon. It's Judge Yancevich. We have one more person from jail arraignments, first appearances that needs an interpreter.
Certainly, Your Honor.
So it's Miguel Rivera Davila, and he has 2 case numbers, 22 CF 1230, 22 CT 1331.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And can you ask him if he can hear you, please?
Of course, Your Honor. Muy buenas tardes, caballero. ¿Tú me escucha?
Sí, buenas tardes, te escucho.
Good afternoon. I can hear you.
Thank you. Sir, please say your name for me.
Caballero, por favor, dígame su nombre.
Miguel Rivera Dávila.
Miguel Rivera Dávila.
Sir, you were arrested on 2 different booking reports.
Señor, usted fue detenido y arrestado en 2 informes separados.
All from the same traffic stop, all from the same incident.
Y todos relacionados al mismo incidente de la misma parada cuando lo orillaron.
One report has to do with the controlled substances and one has to do with the driving.
Uno tiene que ver con la sustancia ilícita y el otro de la manera de conducir.
So, the first booking report, 2 counts.
El primer informe de procesamiento tiene 2 cargos.
Trafficking in a controlled substance.
Traficar en sustancia ilícita.
And possession of a controlled substance without prescription.
Y poseer una sustancia ilícita sin receta.
The other booking report is driving without a valid license for a motorcycle.
El otro informe de procesamiento es conducir sin tener licencia válida para una motocicleta.
And I found probable cause.
Y determiné que existe un motivo fundado.
PTR, any history?
Libertad condicional, algún antecedente.
From 2021, he have discharged a firearm in a public area, and criminal mischief and possession of marijuana.
En el año 2021, descargar, disparar un arma en el público, travesura penal y posesión de marihuana.
So the trafficking will be stayed at $50,000.
El cargo de traficar se le fijará la fianza en $50,000.
The controlled substance with no prescription will be stayed at $2,000.
La fianza por la sustancia ilícita sin receta, $2,000.
With pretrial release.
Con condiciones de libertad provisional.
Do not possess or consume any illegal substances.
No puede poseer o consumir o ingerir sustancia ilícita.
And then the no valid license for motorcycle will be stayed at $500.
Y el cargo de no tener licencia válida para una motocicleta permanecerá en $500.
Also supervised by PTR.
Y también con la supervisión del Departamento de Libertad Provisional.
Without any additional conditions.
Sin ninguna otras condiciones adicionales.
Do you need a public defender?
¿Necesita usted un defensor público?
Yes.
PD will be appointed provisionally.
Se le va a designar las oficinas del defensor público de manera provisional.
Next court date.
On demand,
La próxima comparecencia cuando sea programada.
and for the second case, 22 CT 1331, it will be May 12, 8:05 p.m.
La próxima fecha de comparecencia para el caso 22 CT 1331 el 12 de mayo a las 8:05 de la mañana.
Thank you.
Thank
Muchas gracias.
You're welcome. Thank you to the interpreter.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Nice to hear from you.
You too. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Arturo Escobar.
President approaching, Your Honor.
One moment, please.
This is Judge Redis. I'm going to be handling this initial appearance. Sir, state your name and date of birth, please.
Arturo Escobar, January 27, 1972.
Thank you. Mr. Escobar, do you need the services of the public defender?
Yes.
Have you filled out an application yet?
Yes.
Do you have one?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I'm going to provisionally appoint them. Apparently, it hasn't made it to the clerk's office yet, so it can be reviewed. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of petty theft, $100 or more, and uttering a forged counterfeit. That's a result of an arrest warrant. The judge who signed that arrest warrant did find probable cause. I have reviewed it. I also find probable cause. Bond is going to be set on count 1 in the amount of $250, count 2 the amount of $1,000, and you're not to return to the scene. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anything further?
No.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I missed one. Sorry. There's 2022 CF 421, possession of controlled substance, and 22 CF 422, forgery of a check. With regard to 22 CF 421, that will be revoked and set at 0. 22 CF 422, similar charge, will also be revoked and set at 0. Thank you, sir. Counsel, anyone further over there?
I believe that is the entire docket, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too, Your Honor.
Mr. Mancini, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We'll see you all tomorrow, okay?
You too, Your Honor.
All right, have a good one.
Take care.
Bond court is a free service, but it takes several hours of my time every day. Less than 10% of Bond court viewers hit the like button, and less than 1% leave a comment. If you want Bond court to continue to be available on YouTube for free, then please hit the like button and leave a comment on all of my videos.